Radhe Krishna, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Srimate Ramanujaya Namaha. Welcome to Thirukkolur Penpillai Rahasyam episode number 67. The Bhakti Rahasyam statements, divine statements spoken by Thirukkolur Penpillai to Swami Ramanuja 1000 years back continue to be relevant even in our day-to-day world. There is one or the other message which she is packaging in the form of great stories. If we are able to absorb those and implement even few of those messages which she intends to convey, our spiritual and devotional experiences in the life will improve, and we will also start realizing that those are the divine experiences. So, if we see the last 2 or 3 Rahasyams, in our 64th Rahasyam, we saw how she benchmarked herself with Swami Malyavaan, who had that burning passion to go and visit Ananta Padmanabha Swami in Thiruvananthapuram. So that speaks of passion at work or whatever we do in our day-to-day lives. If we were to draw a parallel from that Bhakti Rahasyam. The next Bhakti Rahasyam spoke about Deivari Andan, the disciple of Swami Malyavaan, who couldn't bear the pangs of separation from his master, which means again it is a lesson for us towards dedication in whatever we do. He was so devoted, so dedicated to his guru that the moment his guru relocated temporarily, he couldn't live easily. That is, Deivari Andan couldn't live easily. So that means whatever goals or purpose of life we define for ourselves, if we are not getting closer to it, we should not be comfortable. We should not live in a comfort zone. We should always strive to achieve those goals or purpose in life. Now, we can see it in both ways, that the purpose and goals, whatever we have set for ourselves, maybe in our professional lives, maybe in our personal lives, go towards that. Or the hidden message, the deeper message, if we see, is to connect to the divine and remember that we are a part of that divine. So that was the message we saw from episode number 65. The last episode, Thiruvarangat Amudanar, it had great lessons on beating ego and pride, and how if one is devoid of ego and pride, the productivity improves in whatever we do in our day-to-day lives. The same Amudanar who was bad-mouthing, who was criticizing Swami Ramanuja, he became his ardent devotee. So, all these messages continue to be relevant even in our day-to-day lives. In our 67th Bhakti Rahasyam, Thirukkolur Penpillai is coming up with another pearl of wisdom. Now, this is an episode, or this is an incident which she takes from Ramayana. Her Bhakti Rahasyam statement is, "Did I give good advice like Malyavaan?" Now, Malyavaan happens to be Ravana's grandfather through personal relation. Officially, he was also a minister in Ravana's court. Very senior figure in Ravana's court, and in fact, he had been ruling Lanka even before Ravana came. So he was that senior. When Ravana came, he got the throne, and Malyavaan continued to be an advisor in the court. Just like we have in our professional lives, we have great minds who have served the companies or corporations for so long that after their retirement we still need their services. So they come in as consultants and guide us with their valuable experiences. So similarly, Malyavaan was operating as an advisor or a consultant in Ravana's court. Now, many people in Ravana's kingdom itself had criticized Ravana's action of kidnapping Sita. There was his own brother Vibhishan, his wife Mandodari, the demon Maricha, and many others. So they had already advised Ravana against this plan of kidnapping Sita, or once Ravana had kidnapped Sita, they were talking to him to let Sita free and Ravana gets his peace of mind. Because definitely the moment Ravana kidnapped Sita, he started losing his peace of mind. So Malyavaan also, as a senior advisor, he gave this piece of advice to Ravana to let Sita free. But Ravana was not the one who would listen to anybody. Again, here, if we link it with the previous Bhakti Rahasyam, the pride and ego was too much filled in Ravana. Though he was a knowledgeable person, he was intelligent, he was a very learned person in the Vedas as well. Yet, the message we get immediately in this Bhakti Rahasyam is, even if a person is filled with knowledge, filled with intelligence, well read, well learned, pride and ego, if they fill up most part of the person's body, this knowledge or intelligence is of no use, because they would not be put, or they would not be thought through, not utilized in the right direction. So now when Malyavaan started giving these good words of advice to Ravana, again Ravana refused to hear. Then even as his grandfather, maternal grandfather, Malyavaan would advise him. He would give him certain indications stating that Lord Ram is no ordinary human being. In fact, Ravana had already become a target of Lord Ram's anger by kidnapping Sita. And Lord Ram was an incarnation of Lord Vishnu himself, who had this target of freeing the earth from all demons and evils. So till now, also all this Malyavaan is narrating to Ravana. Till now, there were no indications that Ram had started acting on his mission. But now, when after the kidnapping incident, there were many indications of Lord Ram starting his mission. So he goes on to tell Ravana that, "Oh Ravana, you have got a boon of immortality, fine. But then there are two caveats in that boon. It states that you won't be harmed by anyone, but that anyone excludes a human or a Vanar or a monkey. Nara and Vanar. These are excluded from the people who can harm you. And you again, because of your pride and ego, you feel that mere mortals, mere humans and mere animals, that is monkey, Vanars, what harm they can do to me. That is the thought which is clouding your mind. But please remember that Lord Ram, as I said earlier in the court also, he is no ordinary human being. He is the Lord who has incarnated on the earth. And again, you are taking the Vanars for granted. If you see, it was this monkey which burnt the entire Lanka just a few days ago. So Malyavaan is reminding Ravana of all these facts, that his immortality boon didn't cover, just like insurance coverage does not include, or they exclude certain things. Just like that, his boon didn't cover harm coming from nars or vanars, that is humans or monkeys. And yet it was these specific category of people who had started their mission against him. So with this monkey burning the Lanka, that is Lord Hanuman, it is a clear-cut indication that the prophecy is going to come true. So with all this good advice, he tries to explain to Ravana to give up on this mission of holding Sita. Yet Ravana, again, because of his pride and arrogance, he could not get all these good words into his ears and through that into his mind, which then ultimately led to the entire downfall of the demons in Lanka. So Thirukkolur Penpillai is benchmarking herself with this quality of Malyavaan, in spite of being old. When people generally feel that once they have given some piece of advice, if the person is not listening to them, they would not care anymore. But Malyavaan took special care for Ravana. With good intent, he tried to advise him, yet it fell in Ravana's deaf ears. Thirukkolur Penpillai is highly inspired by Malyavaan, that he gave good words of advice to such a person who never is in the habit of listening to anybody, who criticizes, who ill-treats people who advise him. Yet at that senior age, at that old age, having realized that Lord Rama was the supreme person who had incarnated on the earth, so he had so much wisdom. So she respects Malyavaan and feels that he is such a great devotee and he has such a courage to speak to Ravana. So that was the content of our current Bhakti Rahasyam. Now, just to elaborate a bit more on Malyavaan, in fact, after the Ramayana battle happens where Ravana is slayed by Lord Rama and Vibhishan takes over as the ruler of Lanka, Lord Ram specifically makes a statement that you should have Malyavaan as an advisor in your court and always listen to his guidance. Had Ravan listened to the guidance of Malyavaan, today he wouldn't have been killed. So such is the greatness of Malyavaan that even Lord Ram speaks very highly about him. So a message for us. It has become a kind of a fad where we don't treat our seniors in a nice manner. We think that whatever they say is some story from the olden times. So in this way, we belittle them, we criticize them, not giving regards to the fact that in their lifespan, they have seen so much, their experiences, they have seen praises, they have seen criticisms, they have seen poverty, they have seen good times. So when a person sees various or goes through various experiences, goes through various things, it automatically leads to a storehouse of guidance within them, and they are trying to give those guidance to people like us with a good intent of improving our lives, but many times we also don't take the guidance in the right spirit, and in a way we speak at times in a manner which is not going well with them. It's kind of an ill treatment to the elders. So this episode on Malyavaan is a very humble episode on how we should be treating our seniors in our day-to-day lives. Even if the message they want to give may not be in line with whatever is going on in the modern times, it is still fine. We should have that maturity to give them a proper hearing and not just belittle them by ignoring them. At least we should have that maturity to listen to them, and then it is for us to decide whether to follow that or not, using some kind of a discretion, whether what they say really is making sense, or at times it could also be out of context in the current times. But whatever may be the case, instead of ignoring them, we should think twice on what message they are trying to convey. So that was the content and the message from our current Bhakti Rahasyam. Stay blessed, stay devoted, and stay tuned for our next Bhakti Rahasyam. Radhe Krishna, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha, Srimate Ramanujaya Namaha.